I'm just logging in remotely to my demo environment. I've got 3 databases here, 2 of which are good, and one is named TestDB Corrupted, which was intentionally corrupted for this purpose. And I want to start off by creating a database maintenance plan. Let me create a database maintenance plan, right-click New Maintenance Plan. It could be a simple database maintenance plan. It could be a SQL Server agent job that you create. But just for simplicity's sake, let me focus on just creating a very simple database maintenance plan. And I'll call it DB main. Create that. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create a backup of the testdb underscore corrupted database, which is this particular database over here. As I mentioned, I've intentionally corrupted this database to show how we've always relied on the status of our backup jobs, and that has created a false sense of security as far as how the backups work. So let me just create a backup database task. What I'll do is I will create a backup of the testdb database. I'll take a full database backup of the testdb corrupted database. And I'll take all the default settings in here. And I'll click OK. Save that. When a database maintenance plan is created, a corresponding SQL Server agent job gets created. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm simply going to start this job and look closely at the status of the job. It will take a backup of the database, full database backup. And look, it just says success, which means the database backup job completed successfully. Let's do one thing. Let's try restoring that particular backup. Let's look at the device that the backup device that got generated. Let's run that. And let's restore the database to, say, testdb corrupted 2, or better yet, why don't we create a new window, or rather script this out so that we can see the T-SQL statement that got generated. I'm not going to back up the log, but I'm only going to restore the database using that backup. And notice that because I'm restoring to a new database, it will create 2 different files just so it wouldn't overwrite the existing database that I have. Run that. And well and good, the restore completed successfully. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is actually to run. Let me copy this and run dbcc check db. And this is just primarily making sure that the backups that were restored were actually working as expected. If you noticed, my dbcc check db returned with some errors. And I want to point out a couple of things here. Number one, I got corruption in my database, page corruption in my database. And it returned 2 consistency errors in the database that we just restored. See, I've got a new database, which is a copy of the testdb underscore corrupted database. But the point that I'm trying to make here is we've looked at the history of the database maintenance plan, and lo and behold, it told us that everything was working fine. The job completed successfully. The backup was taken, and I managed to restore it. Of course, the question there is my backup useful? Well, probably some portions of it, but still, my database has corruption, so technically the backups are semi-useful, is the point that I'm trying to make. And so the point that I'm trying to drive at here is, how long have you been doing it this way? You know, relying on your database maintenance plan or your SQL Server custom T-SQL scripts for taking backups, and just realizing that when your SQL Server agent job reported successful database backups completed, doesn't necessarily mean that the backups are useful at all. And that's primarily what I just proved there. Database maintenance plan, backup completed successfully, restore completed successfully, but the backups contain a copy of the corrupted database. I'm afraid to even ask that question because I'm pretty sure you're thinking, well, I've got my backups working. And what's really scary about this is if there's a dedicated team, like a backup team responsible for taking backups for the entire infrastructure, they're not even aware of this because in some cases, they're just going to install an agent, the backup agent on the SQL Server machine, and that agent will then tie into the SQL Server backup API. And because we don't know what the backup agent is doing, we're just simply stuffing our tapes in all of our backups, thinking that they're going to work the way we expect them to work.